Hi. Let's have a little chat today. I'd like to ask you to consider the meaning of skin. This picture behind me is obviously a fingerprint, but the entire body is also a fingerprint. It has similar ridges, loops, and whorls, closer together, further apart, closer on the fingertips, further apart on the back, and other locations as well. But skin is a long-term memory. And the fingerprint that you see behind me, like yours and mine, it starts to develop right around the 12th week of gestation. Some say it's a little earlier, others a little bit later, but the fingerprint is yours. You know from science that it doesn't change unless you do something pretty radical to it. The fingerprint is the container of the body. The skin is the container of the body. The fingerprint, for me, is also the iris, and that fingerprint is everywhere else in the body, including the genetic fingerprint of the genome. It is a long-term fingerprint. So part of this process of looking at your own skin will help you see something different about your own container. So I'm going to suggest to you that you might consider examining your skin. Every single mark on the skin is an indication of some memory being held by your own soul. The soul is a container around the human body, in the same way that the skin is a container of the human body. So if you consider that the human body has different layers to it, let me pull up a different graphic for you. It may look something like this. Around you is a fingerprint holding you together. That fingerprint is the skin that surrounds your subtle body, the same way that the physical skin is around the physical body. But the physical body skin and your fingerprint skin, they're also related to the fingerprint of your own soul. So examine your own body. I suggest that you start with your hands. Yes, all the information is everywhere in the entire body, from the front of the hands, the back of the hands. So the back of the hands is a useful place to look. Take a look at every one of the marks or scars you have on your left and right hand. Because what you'll find is, if you take the wrist as a unit, this is now going to be your entire body, and all of your left hand would be the members of your mother's side of the family, and the right hand is the members of your father's side of the family. And one of the very first places I look when I do a consultation is I look at the skin on the back of the hand, because the skin on the back of the hand can change quite quickly when you start doing things that are positive. If your diet is becoming cleaner and healthier, you'll see a very different sheen on the top layer of the skin you have on the back of your hand. The shine on your skin will be better. No, it's not from lotion or something else. It's from a different form of saturation through hydration, and it's also an equilibration of minerals. So when you start to live a healthier life, the back of your skin will go through phases. And some of those phases will be something that rises to the surface on either your left hand or your right hand, and it may be flaky skin, it might be a little bit of a scratchy spot, it might be something of a little scar, there might be a long-term scar. For example, on the top of my right middle finger, I have a scar that was from my teenage years working in mechanics, and I smashed the top of my middle finger on my right hand. Later on, you'll find out that every single finger relates to masculine, the middle two fingers, two smaller fingers, feminine. So if I'm examining the skin on the top of my middle finger, I've got some pretty good clues what the long-term memory is going through my father's side of the family. Now, not all of these are revealed in your own personal life. Not everything coming through your father's family revealed in your skin is actually part of your life, but it influences you. So you can see every single mark, and yes, you say, well, that's where the cat scratched me, or that's where the dog bit me, or that's where I smashed my thumb with a hammer, or yeah, you can make up all kinds of meanings and excuses if you want, but if you look at your hand, you'll get a pretty good, clear expression of who you are. If you look at your hands, the front of the hands that you see here is usually the front of the body. The back of the hands is usually the back of the body, corresponding more with the spine, central nervous system function. So the back and inside is feminine, the front and outside is masculine. So if you look at the skin on your left hand, and I have a couple small marks at the bottom of my knuckles, and the knuckles, by the way, on the back of your hand, they correspond to the bottom of the body as well as the wrist is the bottom of the body. The bottom of any unit, like the bottom of a particular joint, the bottom of that joint is also the holographic pattern for the entire finger, the entire hand, the entire arm, the entire body. So the same way with the iris, we look at the iris and we go, here are the things that are on the outside, here are the things that are on the inside, lateral, medial orientations, lower lateral, upper lateral, medial, and so on. These all holographically correspond to glands and organs and body systems. For those of you who read the iris, yeah, the same thing is in the hands. I'm suggesting for self-analysis, take a look at your hands. Anywhere that you look on your face, you can see the same thing in your face. For example, I have a small spot on this side of my face. I have a brown spot in a patch of skin that's not fully there, and I have a pretty good idea where this is in my family tree. It's on the right side, masculine, and this is the numbering system. This is the chin is 1, the mouth is 2, the lip is 3, the nose is 4, the eyes are 5, the forehead is 6, and above, yes, 7 and 8. So if I'm looking at my face and I have something right along this point, it's right over there into the 4. 4 on the father's side, arterial, what we sometimes call 4 boy. Things on the other side are 4 girl. This is the mother's side. This is the father's side. And you can look at your skin and get a pretty good idea how your family tree is affecting you. Just give it a thought. It's very personal to be able to do that. There's a lot more we could discuss about this, and we'll come back to the skin more thoroughly because there's a lot to look at, and I'll be able to help you guide yourself through. If you have a picture of something on your skin and you want to send it to me, then I'll respond to you if I'm allowed to use it, in public. I won't give them your name. But if you have a certain condition, like you have a birthmark, or you have a mole, or a skin tag, or a scar, or you have a flaky skin function somewhere in your body, all of these are capable of being interpreted. Now, one of the reasons why it's so important is that the outer mechanism is actually in control of the inner mechanism. I know that's counter many things you might have heard. I'm saying the outer mechanism of the soul is actually reflecting things into the skin. That's a memory. That memory is now reflected inward to the organs, to produce a replication of the social emotional patterns you have in your skin. For example, back to my middle finger. This middle finger happens to be, just for those of you who want to check your own middle finger on that side, you can basically ask yourself what that really means to you. And for me, it has to do about a relationship to God, or an attitude about authority or bureaucracy and government. Many of you want to use that middle finger more actively than you probably could. So consider all of that. Just think about this for a little bit. That's enough for today. Do well. I'll talk to you again soon. Have a nice one.